Okay, enemies to lovers in general, yes. The banter, the chemistry, the tension, I love it. I love it. But enemies to lovers in romance books, yes. I'm sharing some of my favorites, like my top favorites for this trope, because they're so good. So let's talk about it. I feel like the best place to start is with the book that started off for me. I was always a Grumpy Sunshine book girlie. I was not an enemies to lovers in romance books. Give it to me in fantasy books, yes. This book convinced me otherwise. And also a little bit of a disclaimer. I feel that enemies to lovers is a broad term. I feel like it's used a lot. And sometimes I think that it gets a little blurred, the enemies to lovers. It's like enemies with something, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I only have a few favorites because of that. So I feel like all of these books are giving enemies to lovers with other things, but enemies to lovers first. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So like I said, we are starting off with one of my favorites, one of my first favorites, which is By a Thread. If you followed me back in the day, you know that this was, this caught me by surprise. So this follows our female main character, Allie, who is working multiple jobs for reasons you learn about in this book. Basically, she's hustling. And one day, I think she's working at a pizza restaurant, and she meets the male main character in this, Dominic. I would say that this encounter is volatile. I would say that it is not a good encounter at all. It's not a good time for either of them. It's instant dislike / hate / this is where the enemies to lovers happens. He just happens to be like head of a magazine, and his mom gets involved and offers her a job. And Dominic does not love this at all. And Dominic, he's like a brooding, he's just like a very grumpy, rude boss. And he has his own stuff going on. He doesn't want to repeat the mistakes of others in his life. Let's just say that. But Allie's not going to be intimidated by him. She's like, look, this job is a gift. It is a blessing. I'm going to make this work for me. But then this like workplace situation, it gets a little dicey. It's really dicey. A little bit of a rivalry happens, and they just can't fight it. And that's where the goods lie. So, I mean, like, technically this man is rich. He's very rich. I don't know if he's a billionaire, but he's doing well. So he's a rich boss. It's a workplace romance. Definitely Grumpy Sunshine. Or more like Grumpy Black Cat, but is nice to everyone but him. Is that a thing? It's a thing now. And not a slow burn, but a burn that builds well and lasts long and is spicy. I remember this being very spicy. But I did read it when I was just starting out with romance books during the pandemic. So, I mean, I could have thought it was spicy then, and now this could be like, what is this? I don't know. But I do remember there being a fair amount of spice. So trust that from like the 2021 version of myself. And also, if you've read this book, let me know your thoughts and feelings. I don't feel like people talk about this enough. As much as I love a workplace romance, I also am equally, if not more obsessed with cowboy romance, like small town romances. Honestly, they're all good and they go hand in hand, and I'm not mad about it. But this, Lost and Lassoed, is probably my favorite book by this author. The female main character in this, Teddy, she, I believe, is newly single, and she is in need of a job. She's a designer, but she also needs some money. It's a whole thing. And that's when Gus enters the chat. Gus is, let me get this straight, Gus is Teddy's best friend's brother, and they have never gotten along, like ever. The way that they communicate is just ripping each other apart with the quickest, snappiest comebacks. Things that would take me 2 weeks to come up with. They're just like, bam, bam, bam. And I'm just like, whoa, whoa. So Teddy ends up being a nanny for Gus's daughter because he needs a nanny for the summer. And through that workplace situation, they are forced to spend a lot of time together. And then they realize it's more than hate, like tension and chemistry and a whole lot of good stuff. I love that she's really free-spirited, and he's very like solid and grumpy, and he seems kind of closed off in some ways. And like the small town and the found family is just so good. They are such a good fit, and I love this book. This is true enemies to lovers. We love a cowboy romance. But what I also love is a hockey romance. I'm a sucker for a good hockey romance. So this one follows two characters. The first one being Alexi, and he plays, can you tell that I sport all the time? He plays for the NHL. He plays for a fictional team called the Vancouver Storms. Gosh, I hope they're fictional. No, they're definitely fictional. And Georgia, she also works for the team. Occupation unknown. I felt like she is not a doctor. Maybe it's foundation stuff. I can't remember, but she works for the team. And basically from the start, Alexi and Georgia do not like each other. And that continues until they are both in need of something the other can offer. And that thing is marriage. I love fake dating in books, but I also almost equally love the arranged marriage trope. There's something about lying about your relationship status to yourself, not so much to others, because lying is not, please don't do it, but to each other, because you're in denial of your feelings. It's entertaining. So, of course, enemies to lovers, sports romance, you're supporting a Canadian author, hate to love as well, and just like a whole lot of faking it until they don't. And spicy. All of these books, except for the last one, are spicy. I'm a huge fan, a huge supporter of Chloe Liese. I love her books. I love the representation in her books. I love how charming and spicy and packed with like the best kind of personality and chemistry her characters have, but her books have. And I'm a big fan of this series, the Bergman Brothers series. And the first book, Only When It's Us, it's the beginning of it all. So technically this does take place in college, but it is an adult romance book. It is not giving to adult, in my opinion. So the female main character in this, Willa, she is a soccer star for the school that I think is a fictional school, but also watch it be like UCLA, and that's not fictional at all. So she's busy. She's dedicated to school, yes, but also to her team. And Ryder, the male main character in this, is in one of Willa's classes, and they don't like each other. It's pretty instant, and it gets so bad that they're then forced to work together on a school project. And through that, they're going to realize that, yeah, there's a rivalry, sure, but there's more than that. A lot more. You do get a lot of tropes with this. I like this take on Grumpy Sunshine because I would say that Willa is sunshine, yes, but she's also fiercely independent. She's spunky. Do people say spunky anymore? Because I would say that she is. And Ryder, he is grumpy. He is very private. He's very quiet, but it's the representation for me in this book, in this series. It's just so good. Something happened to Ryder and now he experiences hearing loss. And there's also always representation with Chloe Lise's books. And I feel like I've learned so much. She seems like a delight, like a really kind human being. But I like that it's college, but it doesn't feel like a college book. It just feels overall very healing. And I like it a lot. So technically the last book that we're going to talk about is a YA romance. My thing with YA romance is I love when a YA book is perfect for readers of all age. This one, I feel like this one does this perfectly. I love when it's a YA sports romance, and I love this book. So the female main character in this, Harper, she is artsy and independent. She's business driven, and she does not subscribe to the school's obsession with hockey and its hockey team. Luke, the male main character, is a hockey player, basically one of the stars of the hockey team. They do not run the same circles. They do not like each other, but they do work at the same restaurant together. Something happens. They're forced to spend more time together. It's a good time. For me, it was just the sense of community in this book was so delightful, so good to read. And it really was showing the reader the importance of getting past your ego, letting go of your pride and your prejudices. You don't need them here because it's standing in the way of just love and abundance in all the ways. So it's YA, sports romance, enemies to lovers, but it's the found family trope. It's so good. And I cannot wait to see what this author writes next because I will be reading it. So if you have read any of these books, let me know your thoughts and feelings on them. If you loved this trope and you have some favorite books that you want to recommend, comment those down below. And if I don't have them already on my TBR, I will definitely add them to this just like infinite list that I have. The limit does not exist. As always, all of my socials are linked down below. My shop, my Discord group, my Instagram, all of it's there. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.